Welcome back, fam. It's your boy Josh back again with another video, and today we are doing our 1 week impressions on this beautiful Google Pixel 10. This has been a very fun week. I really enjoy using this Google Pixel 10. I also have my tried and true Google Pixel 9 Pro here, and we'll just look at them together. I really want to talk about this Google Pixel 10, so let's get to it. All right, guys, I really wanted to try out this Google Pixel 10. I have never used the standard Google Pixel devices. I typically go with the Pro versions, so I'm very excited to try this out and test it for you guys. I've got a few things here to say about the build quality. So for one, in hand, this phone feels amazing. So comparing this phone to the Pro models, of course, you get the matte sides, which I wish were on the Pro models. And then of course you get that glossy back. Now, I will say the glossy back feels a little weird to me. So whenever you hold the phone, the back glass, it doesn't feel cheap, but whenever you compare the back glass that is glossy versus matte, I just very much enjoy the matte version. It feels so much better in hand. Even this year-old caseless used Google Pixel 9 Pro, I still enjoy the way the matte glassed back feels when you compare it to the glossy back. It just gives you a different feeling here. Not that it's a bad thing, but I definitely noticed it. And one thing I also noticed when you compare this phone to the original Pixel 9 Pro, as you see, I don't know if you guys can see that, the two camera lenses right there and right there, this camera lens is so much larger than what it is on this one. And that is something that has been talked about quite a bit. And we will talk about the cameras a little bit more later. But that's one thing I noticed. Whenever you look into the camera lens, the Pro phones definitely have larger cameras all around. I just thought that that was interesting, especially since you can kind of see it. And then of course, this indigo blue is the most beautiful color I've probably ever seen on a phone. Other than the iPhone 13 Pro Max in that green color, this is by far one of my favorites. And one of the big negatives that I've noticed about this build quality is that this phone is extremely, and I mean extremely, easy to scratch. I don't know if I will be able to capture this on video, but my camera lens is already scratched like crazy. And like I said, I don't know if I will be able to get this on video for you guys. There is a whole lot of micro scratches on the actual camera lens. And that's the first time I have ever gotten a bunch of micro scratches on a phone before. Let me look at my Pixel 9 Pro, and I'm not noticing those micro scratches on the 9 Pro. There are a few scratches on the actual bezel, but like I said, I used this phone for a very long time without a case. But that is highly concerning for me, guys. I've never had a lens scratch within a week of use. So that is very concerning. I haven't noticed any on the actual glass here or the glass on the front of the phone, but definitely on the camera lens. So I highly recommend, guys, if you are like me and enjoy using your phone caseless, just throw a case on it. With that lens durability being an issue, I think that that's going to be a major issue in the long term. And for me, guys, I have been using this Binks Aurora Air case. This is the one I have been using. It is an extremely thin carbon fiber case, and it adds just enough protection here on the camera lens to keep the camera from touching whatever surface is out there, as you see right there. So it just protects the body of your phone, protects the sides, and leaves the buttons exposed for your use. But yeah, that camera lens scratching is a major disappointment for me. But other than that, the build quality on this phone is absolutely perfect. I love the size. I love the way it feels, except I enjoy the frosted back a little bit more in terms of grip and high quality feeling. But other than that, this phone feels amazing to me. Now guys, the next thing I want to talk about is the display. So the Google Pixel in the past has always had issues with brightness. That was always one of my biggest issues with the Google Pixel devices. And especially when I think about my Google Pixel 7 Pro and maybe even the 8 Pro, the screens were just not bright enough. And whenever they came out with these newer actual displays, the displays have been honestly class leading. And this display on this Pixel 10 is no exception. This particular display is actually a 1080p display compared to the 2060p or whatever display on the Pro version. But even for a Pixel peeper like me, I have not noticed any issues with sharpness. And that's one of the benefits of having a smaller 6.3 inch display. You don't necessarily need the super high res display, and it still looks very good. And the cool thing about this phone is that whenever you jump over to the display settings, everything about this display to me is perfect, from the brightness levels it obtains to the HDR performance to the color accuracy and honestly the color saturation as well. It just looks really good to me. I think Google has done a hell of a job with customizing and tuning their actual displays. And one thing, guys, I want to show you all, this was actually a complaint whenever I talked about this phone versus the Galaxy phones. But if you go down into the display settings, we now have the option for an adaptive tone. Now, I don't know if this particular feature is limited to the Pixel 10 series or if it is due to the new version of Android, but whenever I go into settings from my Pixel 9 Pro, I definitely do not have this option anywhere. So essentially what this setting does is it adjusts the display based on the room's lighting, which is a feature I use on my iPhones, my Samsung phones, and now I have it on my Google Pixels as well, which is awesome. If you thought about buying the Pixel 10 and you noticed that the Pixel 10 Pro has the more sharp display, I would not allow that spec to keep you away from buying the standard Pixel 10. The screen on this looks great. I really like the screen on this phone. And as most of you all know, this phone starts at $799. Now, one complaint I have about that price, I think the price overall is very good, especially whenever you compare it to the Pro Google Pixels or the standard iPhone. But to me, the 128 gigs of storage is still a problem. I think that that's a really good price, but I just wanted to mention that I still feel like 128 gigs of storage base is not enough. It just feels like I am extremely limited on what I can actually install, and I don't like that. So I actually set up my phone from scratch, and I've only used this for a week and I've already used 54 out of the 128 gigs. Now, once I start taking even more photos than I already have, this phone is going to fill up very quickly. Now, I'm sure you all have heard that this phone is eSIM only, and they said that they used the SIM card slot for an additional speaker. And guys, I will definitely say that the speakers definitely sound better on this phone. So let me go ahead and just launch one of my videos here and we'll see how good this phone sounds.
Alright guys, it's your boy Josh back again with another video. Today I want to go over and look at this iPhone 16 Pro Max. I've had this beast of a phone for the last 11 months or so. And I wanted to get my perspective on it because there is a lot of hate regarding this phone. And the hate is somewhat warranted, but I want to go over my experience using this phone entirely. Not just the AI stuff, not just the lack of innovation. I want to go over and talk about my full experience with this device between all of the bugs I've had.
So guys, I wanted you to see the display and listen to the audio. And I am impressed in terms of loudness and clarity. This phone sounds very similar to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is high praise, especially since this phone is so small and so compact. I think they did a very good job with the speakers, and I definitely feel like they are an improvement. Now guys, I don't know if it's just me, but on my Pixel 9 Pro, I have been using the Material 3 beta for a very long time. But whenever I took this phone out of the box, this version, like the public version of Material 3 and Android 16, felt different. It felt very smooth, which was to be expected, but it also looked different to me. I don't know exactly why that is, but this version of Android is by far my favorite version. Android 16 and Material 3 is probably now my favorite setup for an Android phone. I have been using this, obviously, like I said, for a week, and I went back and just played around with my Samsung phone, with my S25 Ultra, with One UI. And I love One UI, I love Good Lock, I love all of that. But the software on this phone is just so clean, so beautiful, so gorgeous. Look at that animation. Look at the bounce. Oh man, dude. I love Android 16. I love Material 3. It is just the perfect iteration of Android. And while we are looking at this here, the haptics, so whenever you click these little toggles, you feel the haptics every single click. And I just want to mention that the haptics on this phone are even better than the previous Pixels. And I don't know how that's possible because the Pixel 9 Pro had some of the best haptics in the game, and yet they improved it once again. I just love how clean this software is. I love how everything looks, except you can't remove that. I just love how clean and gorgeous Android 16 is. I think Google knocked it out of the park with this software. I mean, just look at the animations. Look how nice everything looks. It is just, it's the best, man. It is the best. And while we are just running around and playing around with the OS here, the new Google Pixel Tensor chip is honestly better than last generation. And to me, it feels like it's better by a mile. So whenever I just scroll around the operating system, whenever I am just using the phone as is, especially whenever I use it very quickly, I personally can notice a massive difference. Now I will mention, like I said, this is on the beta. Turn the brightness here. This is on a beta, but I can just feel the scrolling and the animations just don't feel as good as they do on the Pixel 10. And I can't put my finger on why that's the case, other than it is the new chip. This phone overall feels a lot slower. And yes, I know that this has cached data and all that stuff, and it's been used for over a year, but the Pixel 10 just feels a lot smoother. Look at this, and oh, look at those animations. It just morphs back where it belongs. The performance feels magnificent. I don't have any issues at all right now with this Google Pixel. Look at that. I can't believe I'm saying it. This phone is buttery smooth. And it makes me so happy because I have had issues with Pixels in the past with different stutters and non-smooth scrolling. But this Pixel to me just feels absolutely perfect. Look at that. And I know there have been some concerns with people talking about the GPU and all these other issues. Don't worry about the benchmarks. Just use the phone as is. And as long as your experience whenever you are using the phone is good, just don't worry about the benchmarks. Just don't worry about it. The phone feels amazing as is. Just don't worry about it. Let's look at the cameras real quick. So as you've heard and as you know, people have talked about, on this particular Google Pixel 10, yes, Google did add the telephoto lens, which is awesome. I think it's awesome that we now have 3 lenses on the back of the base model Pixel 10. But while they did that, they also decreased the ultra wide and the main lens sensor size by 50%. They cut the sensor size of the main lens and ultra wide lens in half, so it lets in half as much light. Now I want to show you just a few photos here. We'll launch the gallery here. And the photos I have taken look very pixel-like. And not only do they look pixel-like, they look very, very good. So that's with the front-facing camera, of course. I take a lot of photos of my family. There's a fire hydrant. There you go. This is Mr. Bones. Now this was zoomed in to about 20x. And with my eyes, he definitely did not look like perfect in terms of sharpness and color and everything. But I think it looks good enough. I don't know, guys. I can't wait to try the Google Pixel 10 Pro and see how that camera compares to this standard Pixel 10. But I will say, if you buy this phone and this is your only phone, you are not going to care how much better the Google Pixel 10 camera is. I mean, that picture is insane. The Google Pixel still takes some of the best photos you can find, and this Pixel is no exception. Yes, the sensors, they did decrease the size. Yes, I wish they did not do that, but so far I have not had any issues with it. But like I said, I haven't compared it to the Pixel 10 Pro yet. And honestly, I haven't really compared it that much to the Pixel 9 Pro. But one thing I will say I noticed is that within the actual camera itself, the picture taking, like how fast I can take pictures, the burst speed or whatever you want to call it, feels very fast. And I noticed that whenever I was taking a bunch of pictures of the kids, I didn't have any issues at all with taking the photos. Did you see how fast I was? I like that a lot. But one thing, like I said, I've never used the non-pro version of the Google Pixel. Now I know for a fact that this particular Google Pixel 10 has a 48 megapixel standard lens camera. But I noticed that there is no way to turn on the 48 megapixel mode on this phone. And forgive me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if I am just missing this for some reason. I do see the ability to shoot in RAW, but I don't see the option to shoot in full resolution. So that's what it looks like on this phone. Let's bring up the camera on the Google Pixel 9 Pro. And as you see up here, there is a 50 megapixel option. And if I click on that, I now have the ability to go from 50 megapixels down to 12 megapixels. Now, if they consider this a pro feature, that is absolutely ridiculous, Google. Let me go back, hold on. I don't know if I'm losing my mind or what. So photo settings, there is no pro tab up here, like there is up here. So yeah, I can't shoot in full 48 megapixels, although this is a 48 megapixel camera. Damn it, Google! Absolutely ridiculous software locking features. That is so stupid. Yeah, I thought I was going crazy. So I'm glad that I have looked at that together with you guys because I didn't know what was going on. Actually, let me go ahead and turn off RAW before I forget. I found that that's very interesting. And then one of my biggest pet peeves is that within video, for one, you can't shoot in video boost, which the only real difference between this phone and the Pro is that the Pros have 16 gigs of RAM versus 12, but you can't shoot this phone in video boost. Now, I personally am not someone who likes or uses video boost because whenever you are a content creator, shooting like 30-minute long videos like this one is before I edited it, of course. I can't shoot a 30-minute long video and upload that to Google Photos and then allow Google to process that high resolution 30+ minute long video. It would take a week before I'm able to share that video with you guys. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. So no video boost, but also you can shoot in 4K 30 HDR, but you can't shoot 4K 60 HDR still. And I don't even know how this is a thing, Google. I couldn't do it on my Pixel 9 Pro as well. And the reason that this bothers me, guys, is because I shoot all of my videos in 4K 60 HDR. But as you guys see here, 4K 60 FPS, 10-bit HDR unavailable. Holy smokes. Dude, I've had budget phones. Heck, my old iPhone 13, and I'm sure even before that, can shoot in 4K 60 HDR. Google, you have got to fix this. I know that this is not a feature a lot of people use, but it's definitely something that I use. And along with other content creators, I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants 4K 60 HDR, especially since this processor should be able to handle it, right? It's off my soapbox there. Other than the 4K 60 HDR, I haven't used the video cameras too much on this phone. So I will continue to test it and let you guys know what I think. And I may even create a couple of videos using this phone's camera for you guys to see in some of my future videos. Last but not least, Google, the blur background video feature, which is what Apple calls cinematic mode, can only be shot in 1080p 30 FPS. There's no adjustments. So if I click it, there's a blur settings with just flash. If I click here, it just takes me back to the standard settings. So Google, that's another one. We need 4K 30 cinematic video on this phone. So I'm not gonna sit here and complain too much about these two features, but I need it. I need it on my Google Pixels. Other than that, I really enjoy the cameras. I just need to test out the video cameras a little bit more, and I need to test out the photos versus the Google Pixel 10 Pro more as well. So stay tuned on that. Last but not least, battery life for me has been great. So if I swipe up and go to settings, I don't know how much this will show you guys, but I tend to use my phones a lot. Now today was a work day, so I didn't really get to use it that much, but if I go to battery usage, what? Showing 5.5 hours of screen on time, which I guess is possible, but I still have 37% battery left. That is pretty damn great. Very great, actually. But yeah, battery life for me lasts all day. After just a week, it's been this good. Typically, it takes a week or two for your phone to learn your usage and for adaptive battery to kick in. But this phone has been great in terms of battery life since I've got it. And that's with this smaller design. So I think the battery this year is gonna be really good, and I can't wait to see what it's like on the Pixel 10 Pro as well. That's a long one. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about my experience with the Google Pixel 10 Pro after 1 week. I will leave a link down below with this Binks case so you guys can check it out. And I'm pretty sure I have a discount code as well that I will leave for you guys. But Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching Josh's Way of Life. Let me know down below in the comments if you are going to pick up this phone. And if you are not going to pick up this phone, let me know what you guys are using. I'm always interested to hear from you all. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.